Jesus' second coming is something we're all waiting for, but according to William Lane Craig, N.T. Wright's view is quite different, and I would like some clarification. Now, to set the scene, William Lane Craig is a well-known Christian philosopher from the USA. I know that he's been working on his own research in atonement and so on, and obviously looking into your views. Anyway, this is the piece that's quoted by Anders from William Lane Craig, saying, N.T. Wright has this very peculiar view that the Son of Man returned in AD 70 with the destruction of Jerusalem. Anders is looking for clarification on that quote.
Yeah. Sadly, I mean, I've known Bill Craig for quite some time, and we've argued in public, and sometimes we've agreed in public as well as disagreed, and that's fine. And yes, he is working on atonement, and yes, he disagrees with my view on that, and that's fine too. This is how we learn from one another, hopefully. But he's wrong in terms of saying that I say that this is Mark 13 and Matthew 24 and Luke 19, and Luke 21 and so on, that the Son of Man is returning at AD 70. The problem comes with the idea of the coming of the Son of Man. When you read Daniel 7, which is one of the most important biblical texts for the early Christians and for Jesus himself, you have to realize what's going on. And sadly, I may not have made this clear in Jesus and the Victory of God, but I had a whole long chapter on this. I thought I had made it clear that the way that Daniel 7 is being read in the first century is not about somebody called the Son of Man coming downwards from heaven to earth, but about this figure, one like a Son of Man, coming on the clouds to be seated beside the Ancient of Days, who is God. So here's the scenario. And actually, there's a kind of a kid's version of it in the previous chapter, because in Daniel chapter 6, we have Daniel himself in the lion's den. So what is this about? Daniel is a human being. He's put down into this den, surrounded by man-eating monsters. And in the morning, the king comes and looks down into the lion's den. Lo and behold, Daniel is still alive and well, and the lions are still hungry. And the king brings up Daniel out of the den and makes him the second ruler in the kingdom. That is exactly the same picture that you then have in Daniel 7, where you have this image of the great sea monsters, the monsters coming up out of the deep, which, as anyone who knows the Jewish literature of the time knows, these are not literal prophecies about sort of Day of the Triffids monsters coming up out of the Mediterranean. You know, these are great world empires. They are nations and kingdoms, and can be variously interpreted: Babylon, Syria, Greece, Rome, whatever. But then, when the fourth and last one has done its worst, then one like a Son of Man is brought up to sit beside the Ancient of Days. And there's no question as to what that means in the text itself, because it's interpreted twice. There's a short interpretation, then it's an expanded interpretation. And it's about, quote, the people of the saints of the Most High, i.e. the faithful Israelites, will receive the kingdom and will reign forever and ever. In other words, God will vindicate his people, and they will be the judges of the world, and the monsters will get their comeuppance.